You know, when my wife and I moved out here into the country to the little bit of larger property here, we got 6 acres, I think, about a year ago. One of the things we were most concerned about was internet access. Since we both work from home, this is a pretty important thing to us. And much to our delight and surprise, right after we moved in, or right after we bought the house, they installed fiber internet in this particular area. So that gets me about a gigabit, close to it, a gigabit download speeds, and I'm paying for about a half a gig upload speed. And so to get the maximum amount out of that fiber internet, I put a TP-Link Deco mesh router system Wi-Fi network in the house. And that is fantastic because I get the full, it's a Wi-Fi 6E, so I get the full amount of internet speed, and file transfers around the house are fantastic. However, I do a lot of my work out here in the barn, which is a good 150 to 175 feet from the house. I get just a tiny bit of Wi-Fi signal. In fact, if I close the doors, I don't think I get any Wi-Fi signal at all. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'd like to be able to do some automation with lighting out here and be able to connect to my systems, to my little AC inverter over there on the wall. It's got a Wi-Fi module. Generally speaking, it can't even connect. And a lot of the power stations that I'm testing on here, I like to be able to monitor them remotely when I'm running longer term tests. And I do that if they are connected to my Wi-Fi system. But out here, no go, doesn't work. But let's see with my Mac laptop here, what kind of performance we're actually getting from the weak signal that I do have. All right, I've loaded up speedtest.net, and I am connected to my AltaFiber system. If we look up here, you can see not perfect, although I will say that signal looks better than what I normally get, probably because I have the doors open. So this is best case scenario. This is a metal barn, and since I have the doors open, that is going to help a little bit. But let's see what kind of performance we're actually getting right now. Taking a good long time just to fire up. This is actually quite a bit better than I normally do out here in the barn. Wow, almost 50 megabits download. That's significantly better than I normally do. And again, probably because I have the doors open. And you can look at my upload speed, is pretty dismal. So 48.6 down and 5 up. That might be passable under some circumstances. But again, a lot of times I like to keep this door closed because it's either really hot or really cold. Unlike today where it's actually relatively comfortable. But if I close that door, again, because I have a metal barn, a metal door, let's just real quick rerun that test, and now let's see what we get, if we get anything. Yeah, it won't even load. So that's typical. Let me try that one more time. Yeah, I am no longer connected because I shut that metal door. So I've been looking at my options here, and I have I could go the expensive route and actually run a network cable out here, but I'd have to trench that. It would cost a lot of money. I'm on the edge in terms of, you know, the path that the cable has to take, of the maximum distance for a single cable run. And then once I got the cable out here, I'd need to hook up another Wi-Fi hotspot or a little router module, and that'd be another $150. So not ideal. Now, another option is to do a point-to-point wireless bridge. But those, you have to run cable to the bridge at the house, and then you have to have direct line of sight, or pretty good line of sight, and to run a cable to a bridge here in the barn. And then again, I would have to run another, or at least connect to that bridge, another Wi-Fi access point. And again, that's going to be another $150 on top of the, you know, $300 or $500 that I'm going to spend for that point-to-point bridge. So again, gets to be pretty expensive. But that would be a pretty high-speed option, provided that I could get a wireless bridge that does support, you know, gigabit wireless transfers. But there's another option that was much less expensive, and we're going to find out how well that works. So let me show you what that is. All right, this is the WAVLINK AX1800, and as you can see here, it is a Wi-Fi 6 outdoor mesh router. So it's designed to integrate with an existing system, or it can be a standalone router on its own. It could also be an access point or a repeater to your existing network. Now, in my case, I'm pretty sure because of my existing network, if I try to simply use it as a repeater, I'm actually not going to get great performance. It's too great of a distance away. I've got multiple modules in here, and I think it's going to probably interfere with my current mesh system. So I think a better solution for me is to use it as an access point, and my Wi-Fi devices will should be able to automatically switch over to the new Wi-Fi name, which will be this on the same network. So they'll be able to communicate with devices on my entire network, regardless of which Wi-Fi network or which Wi-Fi access point they're connecting to. And it does output a Wi-Fi 5G access point, a 5G connection, as well as a 2.4G connection, which is important because a lot of the IoT devices, like the power stations, for example, some home automation stuff, require, if they make a Wi-Fi connection, they require that 2.4. At 5 gigahertz, it supports speeds ideally up to 1.2 gigabits. Now, I'm not going to get that because I don't have ideal conditions here. And at 2.4, it'll be about a half a gigabit. Again, ideal conditions. So I'd be surprised if I get half of those numbers. But even if I do, that's still a significant improvement over what I got now. So the other thing that's nice is that I can connect this with a single network cable without having to run power to this, because it comes with a little Ethernet, power over Ethernet injector box, which I'll show you in a second, that you can use to supply power to the unit over the Ethernet cable. So you just have one cable run. You don't have to have power where you're connecting this. And yeah, so anyway, let's get this all connected and find out how well it works. All right, here's the unit here, and you can see it's got 4 of these extension antennas, and 2 of them I think are for 5G, 2 of them are for the 2.4, and it is weatherproof, so it's designed to sit out here. It's got a water-resistant gland port connector right there, and then I have just got a single Cat6 Ethernet cable coming out of there. This is taking power over Ethernet, and I have this routed all the way back inside the house. So I got about a 50-foot cable because I wanted to route it out to the side of my house and get it back in where it comes in right next to where my primary router input is. So it's connected directly to the router. So let's go take a look at that part. All right, here's my primary router, and that internet connection is coming in from over here. Now I have added this internet connection. This is the one that goes outside. And this was super easy to do. I basically just drilled a hole. I cut out a spot for the frame for the cover, and then I just bought a little coupler, an Ethernet Cat6 rated coupler that allows me to not have to worry about terminating any Ethernet cable. The outside one just plugs right in. I sealed it off, and then the inside one plugs into the other side. Got a faceplate on it, nice and clean. Everything works great. Now this blue cable goes to this guy here, and this is what comes with the WAVLINK. You can see it's got a little power cable on one side and an Ethernet cable that goes to my router on the other side. And then it outputs power over Ethernet, which is, again, going to the port that I installed. So let's go ahead and turn that on. You can see the light come on, and we are now supplying power to that WaveLink AX1800. And give it a second to boot up. By the way, if you're using this in a repeater configuration, you don't necessarily need to connect a cable to your primary router. It can pick up the signal and repeat it. But that is, as I said, was problematic in my case because it didn't work well from a performance standpoint. But you can also hard cable it to your router, which might have worked better. And that's effectively what I've done now is I've got it hard cabled to the router, but I'm using it in access point mode. Now, the quick start guide that it comes with, very straightforward. It does allow you to just simply connect to the access point with a default password and IP address from any browser. And then it brings up your configuration options, and it's very straightforward in how you set it up. But anyway, I think the WaveLink has probably already connected to the network and come online and is extending my Wi-Fi network out to a new access point well beyond my barn. So let's go find out what that looks like. All right, I am out in my barn, and you can see I've got my regular Wi-Fi access point, my mesh network at the top with a very low signal, and then very strong signal with these guys down here. And it has an extension 5G and an extension 2G. And you can see my phone automatically switched to the extension 5G because it's the stronger signal. And it is a Wi-Fi 6, as you can see. So yeah, so those are the extra access point connections that it creates. It just has an EXT on there, and you can obviously configure that to say whatever you want it to say, and you can provide each network a different password if you prefer. But all of the devices will be able to communicate, including the ones in the house with the ones in the barn and vice versa, which is really what I want to do. So let's go take a look at that Mac laptop again, and let's see if we have a better result. So let's first make sure we're connected. So let's see, we're connected automatically to the EXT5G. Let it access my location. And immediately we are off to the races. Significantly better performance. So I'm getting 200 plus megabits. Now this isn't the, probably 800 megabits that I would get at the house, but this is more than sufficient for what I need at a significantly reduced cost for this solution. And instead of 5 megabits up, I'm now getting 100 megabits up. So 234 down, 98 up, compared to what I was getting before, which was about 50 down and only 5 up. So significantly better performance. If we go to YouTube, I can check out my favorite YouTube channel here and watch my favorite YouTuber.
How much benefit
I love this guy, he's pretty cool.
Solar production.
So that is a success. This definitely works for me. One thing I do want to try is let's rerun that speed test again. Let me go ahead and close the door like I did before and see if we still have any kind of connection. I may have to switch to a 2.4 gigahertz because those penetrate a little bit better than the 5G does. But let's just let's go back to the speed test here and let's see if we still have a signal here. Well, we're still clinging to that 5G. Let's just see what that nets us. So even with the door closed, you can see it's impacting my performance, but I'm still doing better than I did with the doors wide open before. I'm still pulling in almost 100 megabits down. Let's see what upload speed looks like. I was only getting 5 before, and now I'm getting almost 40. Yeah, so I can keep my devices all connected out here. I can add some automation for lights for my home automation system and cameras and all that sort of thing without having to do anything special. And that thing only costs about 200 bucks on Amazon. It's a very good deal. In fact, I think it's slightly under 200 bucks right now. I think there's a coupon on it. And I'll put a link to the product below that I use, the specific one that I'm using here. If you've got a larger property, when you want to be able to extend that Wi-Fi signal out to your property. I don't remember the actual distance. I have to put that down here in terms of how much you're supposed to be able to get. Take those numbers with a little bit of a grain of salt, just because those are under ideal circumstances, you know the drill. But if you have a property like mine where you need to get a good Wi-Fi signal 150, 200 feet away from your main network, this just might be the solution for you. Way more cost effective to do it this way than trying to do a point-to-point bridge, or even worse, trying to run cable. So yeah, very happy with this WAVLINK AX1800. Check it out. Again, I'll leave links below. Hopefully that helps you. If you did find anything useful in this video, if it's something that you were looking to do and maybe this helped you a little bit, please consider clicking the like button for me. I very much appreciate that. Thanks for joining me for this video. Hope you join me for the next one. Until then, have fun out there.